All right, folks, welcome to Nino's Corner.tv. I'm joined with Kerry, Cassidy once again. It's been a little bit, been a little while. But hey, expert on the alien UFOs, alien agenda, the whole thing. You won't find a better person regarding this subject. So, Kerry, thank you so much for joining me. Man, big news hitting now. It looks like we're getting ready for some legitimate, what it kind of looks like disclosure. I don't know if I trust it, and that's where I want to get your take on this, but Douglas McGregor comes out. Colonel Douglas McGregor says, hey, UK banks are getting prepared for the United States to admit that there's alien life, which could cause banks to crash.
Okay, well, with all due respect to McGregor, actually, it's a woman named McCaw who alerted the Bank of England. She worked for 10 years for them, and she left in 2012. So she should get the credit. The article came out of Britain, and she's the one who wrote the letter to the current head of the Bank of England. And this is basically a kind of a controlled disclosure as it is, because you can imagine they would not leak that to the press unless they wanted it out there. And so they're fully on board with what Hillary Clinton would call the alien card. So it's not without its motivation. And I think the whole silver thing, and she even mentions that metals might, go crazy. She says the financial system could get very rocky. And as it happens, silver is going through the roof, as you may know. And copper apparently also becoming rare or more rare or whatever, inaccessible. There's a guy called the Asian guy. I guess you're familiar with him, and his
tag is Asian guy.
Right. Asian guy. He's all over X.com, and okay. So I want to give him credit. He does excellent videos. Some people say he's AI, whether he physically is AI or not, you can't even tell. But great stuff, and just reporting on the side of the concerned citizen, not coming from the financial leadership or so-called leadership or anything. But he's giving us a heads up on where things are going and why they're going there. I have my own theories if you want to hear them.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, there's a lot of people coming out now, a lot of politicians. Anna Paulina Luna has come out and she says, these are interdimensional, or she went into a room where they had to put all their phones into like these Faraday bags or whatever. And she says that she's learned that they're interdimensional, that they don't come through propulsion. They're like interdimensional entities. That's what we know about them so far. So, I mean, that's, to me, it almost begs the question, like, where are they from? Are they from the inner Earth? I mean, there's so many different places they could be interdimensional. Are they from another planet just outside our solar system? Are they within our solar system? Are they just on the moon? Are they indigenous to Earth? There's so many questions I have.
Well, all of the above, the bottom line. And let me say, with all due respect to Anna Paulina or Luna, that, we are interdimensional. People do not understand this, okay? Our whole universe, our multiverse is interdimensional. So that means that we go into other dimensions. You go to sleep, you go into other dimensions. You can travel. Time travel is interdimensional travel. So people do not understand the nature, and even scientists. Now, I don't know whether scientists lie or they just don't get it. I have no problem understanding, being interdimensional. This is what we are. We're multidimensional beings, and we exist on several, dimensions simultaneously. So it's not, when you say aliens are interdimensional, it's like, it's like saying, I don't know, the sky looks blue or whatever.
Right, but they're able to use that gift or technology to come in and out of our dimension. We're not able to do that, right? I mean, we're not able to say.
Yes, we are. Absolutely, 100%. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you
just haven't paid attention for the last. For a while.
Sorry.
Like I'm saying, like travel to another reality terrestrial plane and just
Tesla
go there.
Was talking to aliens. Okay, for God's sake, Tesla understood the multidimensional nature of our reality. He understood portal technology. Hal Pudov and his whole team is all obsessed with portal technology. Well, a portal is an opening, a doorway into another dimension. And the sun, by the way, is a portal. Saturn is a portal. These are places, if you pay attention to my Mark Richards testimony, Captain Mark Richards, who was in the secret space program when he was a young child. His father was called the Dutchman. He was Air Force. Mark Richards was Navy, and basically had a Starship Enterprise type vehicle. His disclosures are absolutely out of this world by most people's standards, but it all makes complete logical sense. I mean, I have spent 20 years explaining, and with my whistleblowers explaining the nature of the alien reality, the alien visitation to our planet. This announcement by the Bank of England, basically leak, is nothing new, okay? Now, Luna has been part of the UAP hearings, and the UAP hearings are full of disclosures of us having reverse engineered alien technology, okay? Now, if you want to argue about which planet it came from, that's kind of down the road, just knowing it's interplanetary, okay, and interdimensional. When you jump, you've seen, when you jump like in Star Trek, that's real. So they jump. They don't go like on a highway, from point A to point B. 3i Atlas is not on a highway. If it wanted to go and disappear, and it did disappear supposedly 18 satellites, as I recall, it probably moved them into its Dyson sphere. I think it's surrounded by a Dyson sphere. A lot of people don't know what a Dyson sphere is. Look it up. It's real. Scientists know what a Dyson sphere. There's arguments that say that we on Earth and even our solar system is within a Dyson sphere. What that does is protect you. It's kind of like a balloon, if you want to say, that we exist within this interdimensional space and are protected by it. I mean, my testimonies, all this is juvenile, okay? It's just these.
Well, hold on, Kerry. Like, I've watched your stuff for years, no doubt about it. It's kind of you've been doing this stuff for a very long time, and I give you all the credit in the world. You were one of the tip of the spear with this stuff, no doubt. All your guests that you have been fascinating. This led to other programs like Ancient Aliens, but yeah, you were out there in the forefront with David Wilcock, everybody doing this stuff for a very long time. But now it's like you never heard when you were doing it, really, the politicians coming out and just speaking so candidly about it, right? Now they are, like Anna Paulina Luna. I mean, now in the open, right? They're all over.
Yes. I mean, well, that's part of a conscious decision by our military industrial complex.
Right, but would that be considered? Is that a soft disclosure leading up to the final announcement?
You could call it soft if you want.
Okay, so because that's going to lead to what?
McCaw, who the leak, the Bank of England, the leak, she is coming out as a harder disclosure. She's coming out warning that we've been doing soft disclosure for a while, that banks need to be heads up because the United States government is slowly, the UAP hearings basically solve the problem, okay? We have reverse engineered craft. We have credible military witnesses who actually risked their whole careers and reporting to people like Grush, right, who is a CIA officer, and he has a whole slew of witnesses, most of whom didn't get to testify, but many of whom I know, and some that might have testified on my channel. But the thing is that we've been doing this disclosure, like a light disclosure, if you will, for 80 years. The Nazis went to Antarctica. They built an underground base. They're dealing with aliens in Antarctica, ants, ant beings. Hello. I mean, in many ways, the truth is out there, but it's like it's hiding in plain sight. Okay, so I don't think we need to go back and reinvent the wheel here. Tesla knew about aliens. He said the most important thing we can do is communicate with other planets. What the hell do you think he was talking about? He wasn't talking about talking to a rock. I mean, when you have,
So do you think that they're only going to disclose how much of this are they going to disclose? Just enough to what they can control, right? I mean, they're not going to say how many civilizations out there. They're not going to give us the truth.
no, they
They're
probably
only going to
won't.
give us what they want, right? Only enough to control us even
I don't
more.
know what they hold in their cards behind the scene. Okay, I do know that Bob Dean, who is a highly respected officer in in SHAPE headquarters, who was given a booklet, and they had flyovers of that base in Paris and back in the day, and many other of my witnesses. They're all we have credentials, we have their history. These people are not crazy. They are all military. What has been done right now with the UAP hearings is just going over the same old road that we went over 20 years ago. I mean, this is how slow people are to get a grip on what's really going on. We have what he said. We have Anunnaki walking the halls of the Pentagon. Okay. The Anunnaki are carved into temples in Iraq, Iran, and Egypt. I lead tours of Egypt. They're the tall beings, but they also have learned how to genetically manipulate themselves to look just like us. So they're our height, 6 feet.
They all play for the NBA. I
don't know. No, some are actually shorter. But what I'm saying here is that there's so much to this story. It's hard for me to know where to start with you.
So I was talking to, we're just doing an overview of all of it. And I want
Right.
to talk about how this could lead to a black swan event, right? So like when they come out and announce this, let's say Trump comes out and he gets on the podium and says, okay, by the way, folks, yeah, there's alien life. It's here. We know who they are. We're reverse engineering. I mean, let's say that happens, which would blow my mind.
Let me say that something close to that just happened in Davos. He said, we have technology that I can't even tell you about. Now, some people are writing all kinds of things into that, but hey, where do you think our technology came from?
100%. Look at the iPhone. There's no way we came up with this.
And Roswell, hello, this goes back to Roswell, for Christ's sake. And I'm telling you that me and my former partner, Bill Ryan, were given death threats because there was a disclosure about Roswell that we were not allowed to talk about. We had to pack our bags and leave the state where we had gotten an incredible disclosure and a bunch of stuff. And they'll kill me right now if I come out and say it. That's what they told us. Now, whether they were, they're still in power enough to do that, I don't know. But Iguano 7 himself had told me, he told Simon Parks, because we're kind of the experts or whatever you want to call it. He said, don't talk about aliens. He's so afraid that people won't vote because they have only one brain cell or something, that they can't consider aliens at the same time they consider who they want to vote for. But hey, Trump could definitely win the election.
I mean, you gotta tread lightly with
the reality of aliens, I can tell you that.
So do you think by disclosing this information, it will lead to banks collapsing in a black swan event? I mean, do you think that this will trigger it?
No, because until and unless the aliens step forward, start doing broadcasts, right, or being interviewed, right? Hello. We have tall whites. We have tall whites that are working with our military right now in Nevada. Okay. They have a hidden base there. The Charles Hall books details this airman's interaction with these beings, okay, in detail. And he's definitely handled by the military. I mean, there is a leak, and it's a better leak than used to be, even in some cases. Although in the 1950s, they had quite a bit of disclosure going on, and then they shut the whole thing down, and they went silent. They kill people that disclose information about aliens, and they've been doing it for years. They still threaten you if I mean, this is the reality, okay? This is threatening, yes, to our way of life. But hello, we need to grow up, grow a pair and actually greet the new dawn, because we are dealing, even now while we're talking and pretending that they don't exist, they do exist. They've existed back in history. I just did a show with Michael Schratt, an aerospace historian and ufologist. He has the drawings all based on the testimony. He's been investigating this story for as long as I have, at least 20 years. Okay. And the evidence goes back to Egypt when Akhenaten actually had a UFO sighting. It's in the Bible, it's in the paintings. I mean, chariots in the
I mean,
sky.
they're on cave drawings.
Yes, absolutely.
Hundreds of thousands of years, if not millions of years old.
Native Americans draw ant people on their walls, for God's sake.
Would the ant people be considered the Greys, or are those a completely different category themselves?
Absolutely not. And, I don't know if you've talked to JP. He's all about the ant people. I'm not a fan of them, but he is. These are certain types of beings. What's interesting? It's as above, so below. Say you have an animal here. There are dog-like aliens out there. There are, and they want to do business, by the way. They're the good guys. And they stay at underground at, in Australia, in what's that base called?
Well, I'm not even joking about this, but I watch trail cams and I see dogmen all the time. It's crazy. The cryptids, the dogmen. I mean, that to me is a
they're visiting us all the time. Yes, they can go interdimensional, and that means they just disappear from this dimension. They're not going anywhere. These dimensions are right next to each other. Okay. So, I can see into dimensions. I can sense into dimensions, and I can see light beings, and they cloak themselves in light, and so you can't see their actual form and that kind of thing.
When I did DMT, when I was on ayahuasca, I saw everything. It was like I cleaned up the muck off a windshield, and I saw.
All right, so you know the story. I mean, look, people have risked their lives for years to get this out there. Really respected people have done this. Okay. And a lot of those people became my witnesses. They approached me. I didn't even approach them. That's what's,
So do you kind of feel shafted here? Like, do you kind of feel like you should be the one bringing the disclosure, you and others that have been working on this?
You know what? I am happy. I am very happy because the load is sort of off my shoulders. And someday somebody will maybe acknowledge my role in this. But other than that, I'm very happy that this is now coming out and that people are realizing that what I've been doing for my whole life, my own family doesn't even believe my work. Okay. My mother did, but she's passed away. So, you know what I'm saying? In other words, this disclosure is very slow in coming. And I think, with all due respect to the white hats, and I love the white hats, and I think they're doing a fabulous job right now. And I kudos to Trump and his team, because I love all those guys. They're doing what they need to do. But you don't know the number of stories that are in the news right now that have to do with aliens. The Cuban Missile Crisis was a fight with the gray aliens.
Okay.
All those years ago, Mark Richards testified to that effect to me. Okay. He even came out and talked recently on this, I do this, I don't know what you call it. It's an online internet that's in the prison. Okay. So he's in prison and we text back and forth.
So he's still alive?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
He's like in his, I guess, 70s at this point. And he's been in jail or prison in Solano and other prisons for about 38 years at least.
And Mark Richards was a super soldier or something along those lines?
He's a Captain Mark Richards. His whole family, his grandfather worked with Tesla. He was in the secret space program, and that's where we're talking about. And, right now, Clayton Morris just did a show about the secret space program. It's starting to get out there into the mainstream. We've been talking and even having conferences about it. I mean, since I started, which is going back again 20 years. So it's starting to roll out into the mainstream. That's what we're talking about. As it becomes more understood. I mean, Spielberg was writing about an alien human exchange program in Close Encounters all those years ago. He was read in. Okay. He didn't just make that stuff up. They gave it to him and he put it in a movie. I mean, there's so much like that. Hollywood has been disclosing the truth about the alien presence forever. Okay. And my hat's off to them. There may be a lot of adrenochrome junkies over there that, some are, purposefully like that. They're Satanists, but others got roped into it accidentally because they didn't know any better. Right. And they got addicted. And that's where they torture children to get their adrenochrome and everything, all these fluids. It's called loosh is another word for it. I mean, the Rob Reiner thing was a massacre. That was a satanic ceremony, if you want to call it that. That's what they call it, right?
Well, Craig Lund came on my show and said, the Silicon State, and he said that was the second of 2 sacrifices that he predicted. He said the first would be a political figure, Charlie Kirk, then a Hollywood couple, and he says the third to come next, it will be a big tech sacrifice. Someone big in big tech is going to get it. That's what he says. But he said that Rob Reiner was a twin sacrifice.
Oh, okay, whatever. I'm not going to believe him completely, okay? There's a lot of BS out there. As far as I'm concerned, Charlie Kirk is alive and well, okay? He's in witness protection, and so are probably the kids. The Erica Kirk out there right now, she's probably a clone or a double. Sorry to say. But but all the history of Erica Kirk is kind of close to the truth. She went into orphanages, and I'll tell you what she was really doing. She was identifying the gifted children to be taken off planet to various settlements that we have, colonies on various planets and moons, like moons of Saturn, Jupiter.
You don't think she was trafficking them? I guess she was trafficking them to other planets.
You want to call that trafficking? I mean, Epstein was involved in moving children. They're trying to preserve the human race, and they're not telling you about it. This is a secret space program. Okay, yes, Maglev trains underground. You can get to, from here to Australia, Pine Gap, which is the name of the base I was trying to mention before in Australia. Apparently, this is what one of my witnesses said, a top witness who, by the way, ever since 3i Atlas hit the scene in July, has disappeared off the face of the earth. Now, I got a contact to give me some information. I don't think he's dead, but they don't want him to talk because he knows a hell of a lot. And so this is the situation. You got to understand that we have dealings. We have, the UN, they have a division that actually has meetings with aliens in places like Peru and Exeter in England. I've got multiple witness testimony on this. We and our government have been having meetings with aliens going way back. Back in the day, William Tompkins, you remember him? Yeah. He was interviewed multiple times by Gaia TV. He was paid for those interviews. Well, I didn't pay him, but I interviewed him in a 3-hour interview along with the aerospace historian Michael Schratt. And he basically said, this whole child abduction trafficking is way worse than we ever dreamed. And he was a Navy guy. He was on my show. He was supposed to come back. The night of before the show, he called me and said, never speak to me again. I am not allowed to talk to you ever again.
Wow.
Hung up the phone. And less than a month later, he was dead, supposedly falling down a set of stairs. Now, you want to tell me that was natural?
No.
Now, maybe I hope, in my heart of hearts, that he was taken to the Pleiades he talked about the Pleiadians all the time. He worked with them. We did not get to the moon on our own. We got help, alien help. And I've had that from multiple secret witnesses for 20 years. So his disclosure on that level wasn't even new. And he said the reptilians have been sabotaging our space program. You see all those probes that go around Mars and various, they're not just falling apart. These people are not incompetent. They don't send a craft, all those miles out. They use old tech because, we can jump and we're going interdimensional. We're going, this is, what can I tell you? There are lies out there. They're trying to roll it out slowly. People like Wano Savin and others that don't want disclosure for whatever reason, even though he was a sci-fi buff when he was a kid, for God's sake. Anyone who's a sci-fi buff is definitely into aliens. So he's playing a role.
So what's your thoughts when someone I was talking to Timothy Alberino and he was saying that he's talked to a lot of people within the government and they'll talk about aliens all day long. He goes, the one thing they will not talk about is giants. And he said that's the one thing that they just say, hey, that's it, zip it. I'm not talking anymore.
Newman has uncovered the secrets in the Smithsonian that reveal the giant bodies. I've seen photographs in Egypt. of gigantic skeletons, okay, that are in museums, small museums in Egypt. Giants are not that big of a deal.
But
We
he
know
says
they
that
walk the earth.
they're still here. They're feral. They're
Yes.
fingers, six toes,
Well,
You know, a lot
but
of them are
you got
redheaded.
to understand the real giants are 24 feet tall. They can't hide.
Insane.
Okay. The tall ones, then 9 feet and above, slightly in that area. I mean, I've got a photograph I can show you if you give me a minute of giants escorting a bunch of military people on a beach in Israel. I mean,
A
it was
photo or a video?
a photo.
Yeah, I get it. Oh, do
Yeah.
you know where it's at?
Yeah, it'll take me a second. I just sent it to a friend of mine, actually.
Yeah, because
this is
Timothy
the
said
reality.
they're feral, the ones, and then there's
Well,
places all over the
why
planet
do
like
you think they have
Afghanistan.
human sacrifice? Why do you think they're doing this whole thing? That's satanic. Those rituals came not from us. We don't want to eat ourselves. Okay, that's
But
stupid.
people do though.
No, but a
We
race
learned
does
it.
not eat themselves. Okay, it's just obviously, the logic behind that is not, it's not even survival level.
So we learned that those rituals from
We're
the
talking about
giants.
genetic engineering. We're talking about reptilian DNA mixed into the human DNA. Initially, it was actually to protect us because they had several seedings of humans, and they kept dying out because the reptilians would invade and take over and kill them and eat them and use them as slaves. So they had to put some reptilian DNA. So we would fight back, and it worked, but it sort of went over the top. It became like even worse. So now we have humans that are preying on other humans. This is all Satanism, vampirism. It's known to us. It's in scary stories and things like that. But I should be able to find this thing. I just sent it to this friend of mine.
Well, while you're looking for that, so what's your thoughts on Trump's approach to take Greenland? I mean, is there more to the story here with
Yes.
Greenland? I've heard
Okay,
it.
Trump is vying because we were told there's like 6 or 9 people that run all the entire Earth. Okay, in sections. Okay, and that Trump is vying to be the head of the Western Hemisphere. And Greenland is part of that. Now, Greenland, I have a testimony from a guy who went to Inner Earth by way of Greenland, and he was flown by a pilot into the North Pole. They went into a like portal opening, and it was like it sounds like Jurassic Park. They entered this amazing sort of jungly kind of place, and he was served food there. He spent 48 hours there, and then he came out. He's a wonderful guy. His name is Hendricks. You can go to my website and see him. I've got testimony on almost every topic under the sun to do with all of this, right? So
there's obviously portals all over the planet, right? There's nodes where portals open. And
the military know all about portals. Right. You know what CERN does? CERN and these other linear accelerators. You know what they actually do? They open portals for space travel and for interacting and letting things in. Also, things that we don't want in here.
So Juan has said, the one thing Juan has said is that all roads lead to Antarctica. He said that, and he said that publicly. So
there's a lot of aliens over there,
right? But there's a breakaway civilization there. Do you agree with that?
They have. Well, it's a German-run civilization, that part of it, but there's also alien, bases there. I mean, this story is so big that we could be here all night and all day and still not cover enough of it.
No, I know that. I'm just trying to get my audience ready for when this happens. What do you think we should expect? Is there going to be a massive black swan event? The economy crashing. Are people going to accept this? I mean, religious wars. I mean, people are going to short circuit. People are going to go crazy. Is there going to be chaos? I mean, what should people expect when this disclosure comes out?
Well, in a sense, it's already happening. It's been happening, like I say, all these years ago. So it's escalating is all. Now I found this picture, but it's not by itself. So, but I'll put it on the screen anyway, because I can't find the individual picture by itself. So hold on one second. And this is from a video. I put it on a video from years ago. Okay, can you see this? Now I have to share my screen, right? I don't know how to do that here. Do you know how to let me have?
Geez. This is
hold on.
StreamYard, so it's a little bit.
Here's a share. Okay. Image file, share screen. I'll just do share screen for now because it's simpler. I hope this is going to work. Allow.
I should be able to see it there down there at the bottom, and then I can share it. I don't see it though.
Let me see. This is this article, overview of ET influence on Earth. That's the name of the article. Okay, share. Okay, take a look at this. This photograph made the rounds on the internet like years ago. We're talking 15 years ago or more. These are giants, what people think of as giants. They're breeding giants for the military. These are humans.
How old is that photo?
I don't know. I just know that it came through, across my table, and
so they look like they're like NBA players. They look about what, 10 foot, maybe a little obviously taller, but how tall? Like, how tall would that guy be that they're escorting right there? That guy.
He'd be a big guy. He'd be 6
foot
or 6'5" or something. Juan's like, what is this, 6'3" or something. These are what people call giants, but they're not. They have, the mounds in America. Inside those mounds are often have been found giant skeletons. And
the remains.
The guy who I think he calls himself the Ruiner, that I interviewed several times, who said he was a communicator with giants, and he would go in with the military into these caves where the giants were they were like in stasis and they were coming awake.
So why are they hiding them from us, the giants? I mean,
the whole story they hide from us. I mean, it's insane.
But I mean, but back, like, I've seen photos of the 1800s of like, early 1900s of giants. Like it was almost like they were coexisting peacefully, maybe not so peacefully, but they were out there.
Well, actually, giants were a threat because they would eat humans. I mean, sorry to say. It's too bad they're not. I mean, the Goliath, the David and Goliath, that's an original story, but that's not just what happened. That's based on a war that went on, the humans had with giants back in the day. And for whatever reason, I guess giants were, couldn't handle themselves very good in our.
So these giants right here would be considered small, medium.
Yeah, these are not the big giants. I said 24 feet. Can you even imagine that?
No. It's wild.
Yeah. Crazy.
Wild.
But I mean, that's the tip of the iceberg. I mean, there's so much about our world that people have been lying to us about for so long. It's sad.
So why would the government disclose this or decide to disclose this? Is it for a one world agenda? Would that be the principle? Would that be the reason, the agenda to disclose it, for them to control the alien disclosure? What would be the nefarious reason?
Okay, well, part of it has to do with a lot of this sort of disclosure type stuff is America trying to sequester the technology so only they have it. Okay. So it's like we're so busy fighting each other on Earth that we don't realize that the secret space and even a portion of the UN, as I said before, is actually having to negotiate with alien races behind our backs because we're so busy fighting each other. I can tell you that Israel's run by the Anunnaki, and the Anunnaki they're like short ones. There's medium size, but 9 feet would be the maximum. Probably they're walking around on the Earth for now. I don't know this for a fact. I just know, nobody's reporting higher than that. The thing is that they're operating behind the scenes in Israel. Netanyahu is not in charge. Okay, I've got witness testimony that goes way back, all about how the Anunnaki are running Israel. That's why they're so warlike. You understand?
Right.
the Anunnaki are reptilian humanoid hybrids, and Israelis have an extra reptilian amount of reptilian DNA. So do the blue bloods, the people that are, so-called royals. They're not royal. They just have more reptilian blood, and they were put in charge by the Anunnaki. And this goes back, I don't even know how many years.
There's a Sumerian. I've always looked at this,
right.
and I mean, he's holding an adult lion like a puppy.
Yeah. Well, you can see
that would be an Anunnaki, correct?
Yes, and you can also see humans sitting on the laps of these giants.
Right, I've seen that.
That's carved into the temples in Egypt. I mean, this goes back way back. Okay, so we have been. I mean, but it's not. There's all kinds of aliens. There are good ones. There are bad ones. There's in between ones. The one thing to be aware of with aliens is that they have their own agenda. They're not just like little angels that come here to, kiss us and treat us like babies. I mean, they do treat us like babies, but the bottom line is they're lying to us. They run the financial system. That's who the white hats are actually fighting. They won't tell you that, but that's the truth. That's why Juan doesn't want me out here talking, right? Because the financial system has been under Basel, Switzerland, and those families that were chosen who have, again, the reptilian bloodline going back ages. And so they were put in charge of our financial system. We can't change it totally unless the aliens agree, especially the Anunnaki, who like to think they're running the world. They're not, but there's other races. They're pure reptilians that are here. There's Draco. There's all kinds of different beings. And they're vying for control. Now, there's also a group from Aldebaran that communicated with the Nazis, gave them the technology back during World War II. They're being given land in Africa because they destroyed their own planets and came here and made a deal with us so that we would give them some land to move their populations to. I mean, Gordon Duff, who was the editor of Veterans Today, outed that story, like on the front page of Veterans Today. Nobody even paid attention.
Right. People are so absorbed with their phones and distractions and football and UFC.
But it matters. You should know your enemy. You should know the ones that are trying to rule over you. You can't fight an enemy
that's how they keep us distracted. That's how they keep us distracted. Bread and circus. Yeah. They don't want us looking into this stuff.
Exactly. So that's good. You got an Egyptian picture there.
Only because he's sitting there. You can see this giant sitting there, and then I guess Anunnaki, and then the people. I mean, it's obvious. Like, this is thousands of years old, and they're depicting
this is carved into all the temples in Egypt. And you see again and again, you see these tall Anunnaki type beings. They could be many different races, but they're basically instructing humans. You see them. It's not actually a war. It's actually a peaceful negotiation.
What's your thoughts on people calling them demonic or the Nephilim?
Nephilim are one group, which is the human, reptilian, Anunnaki, Draco. Draco influenced. Listen, what people call the Anunnaki are the Nephilim. Okay, they're different words for the same thing, which is not human, but humanoid reptilian hybrid. They call them, all those names because they eat humans. They torture humans. They're like they've been the bad guys. Now, there apparently are some good Anunnaki. I mean, I'll tell you one thing. I had an apartment, a house that I was going to buy, and I just got a flash. I do get downloads, all kinds of stuff, but I saw a very tall being walking through my house I was about to move into, inspecting it to see if it was suitable for me. Now, who the fuck is that? I just saw, I just tapped into that reality. It was incredible.
Yeah, I have no doubt about this. And I think people need to become more open about this. I just think this is going to cause a lot of friction with religions, like people that are the dogma, Catholics, the
Yeah,
whole
but you know, the
bring it
reality, there still can be an avatar, you know, a teacher named Jesus who lived. Actually, there were 3 Jesuses, if you really want to get into it. You know, there's 6th dimensional, 9th dimensional, and 12th dimensional, as I recall. And Ashiana Dean, in her Voyager series that talks about the history of humanity, which I have on the front page of my website if you want to go read the books. They're excellent. They're downloaded by her. She didn't write them, to, you know, by what's called the guardian races, which are the good guys that are trying to safeguard our, you know, our whole human, you know, colony here.
It's Project Camelot, your website. What is it?
ProjectCamelotPortal.com. You can also use ProjectCamelot.tv. You can use ProjectCamelot.org. It's a huge website. I have thousands of videos, and they're all on Rumble. Okay. So we're moving everything to Rumble. I was on YouTube. I had 70 million viewers worldwide when I was in YouTube. In 2021, March, during the COVID nonsense, they basically deleted my entire channel overnight. I was one of the original YouTube director, writer, producers.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild. I'm going to show you right now. Here it is, folks. Give Kerry a visit right here.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Exactly. There it is. All right, Kerry, I gotta have Art stop here. I gotta get to the hospital, but
no worries.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on. This was interesting. I wanted to get your insight on all of this. There's the Project CAMELOTportal.com, correct?
Yes.
There it is.
Thank
all
you.
Right, folks. Yep, absolutely. All right, Kerry, thank you so much. I just wanted to get your take on all this because I know it's coming. I know we're just right around the corner.
Yeah, we're right there.
Yeah, we're there. So we'll see you again. I appreciate you coming on. God bless you. Stay with me just for a second.
Okay.